All right. Hey guys, Mr. West here. Next thing we're going to model is going to be the wheel. So I'm going to start a new sketch on my XZ axis, if it'll let me grab it. There we go. And I'm just going to rotate it so I'm looking at it this way so it kind of matches what's in the dimension drawing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a little rectangle here. Happy little rectangle. I need it to be 1 inch across. And I need my width to be 0.25. So I'm just going to make that little thing right there. I'm going to zoom in just so we can kind of see what we're working on. Next thing I'm going to do is actually make an arc. So I'm going to use a 3-point arc here because I know it needs to be on each end of this rectangle to make that shape. And I'm just going to make it tangent, so it's going to be the right angle to begin with. I'm also going to make another little rectangle here. I'm just going to kind of pop that over here. And then from this edge, I'm going to make this in exactly 1/4 inch. Good estimate there on my behalf. And then we're going to put this over here. And this one's going to be 0.75, so 3/4 inch. So I'm going to go through, and then we're going to go in, and I'm going to trim out this line and that line. So I have a notch that kind of more represents what is going to be on this part. I'm also going to trim that out. And then I'm going to go in and use my fillet command, which is under modify. You can also just press this button up here. And I'm going to fillet these two corners. And I'm given in my dimension drawing a radius of 0.0625, and it says it's typical, which means that that's going to be used for both of these radii. So this is going to be 0.0625, and I'm just going to hit enter. So now I kind of have the overall profile of this wheel. I'm just going to finish sketch. I'm going to revolve it around this axis. And you can see we kind of have the rudimentary shape of that wheel. So I'm just going to hit OK for now. I'm going to go back in and model that little peg later. I'm going to get this kind of squared up. So next thing I'm going to do is go in and model the hole for the axle as well as the notches or the spokes in the wheel. So we're going to go in through and do those. First thing I'm going to do is going to be make this hole. So I'm going to use the hole pattern. I'm just going to select there. For my reference, I'm just going to select this circle in here, and it's going to be concentric. And I know the diameter of this hole needs to be 0.28, and it is going to be a through hole. So I'm just going to go ahead and say all in this case, and it's just going to go right through. And I'm just going to hit OK. So now I have that through hole. Then we need to model the spokes. So I'm going to start a new sketch. And I know we're going to have, well, it's going to start 15 degrees off axis here. So I know I'm going to have to start with a circle that starts in the center. And I know my inner radius is going to be 0.375. My radius is going to be 0.375, but I need my diameter. So I'm just going to do 0.375 times 2 and hit enter. And then my other radius needs to be, or my other diameter is 0.625. My other radius is 0.625. To get the diameter, I'm just going to multiply that by 2. So that is where those pieces are going to be. From that, I'm just going to add a couple lines. So I know this line's going to be here. Well, let me start over here. So from here to here, I know that these are going to be actually 15 degrees. I'm going to start with a construction line, and I'm just going to put that at 0 degrees. I'm going to go from here to here, and I'm going to just place that there. I'm going to dimension this. So from here to here, I have a 15-degree angle. So that's going to match what we have on our dimension drawing. I'm going to go in and add another line out to here. I'm going to dimension this, and I know this needs to be 30 degrees. So from there, I'm actually going to go in and make these I'm going to make these not construction lines. I should have selected that at first. So these are not going to be construction lines. But now I can actually go through and use my circular pattern tool. Now that I've created one of these, I can select my objects, which are just going to be these two lines. My center point is going to be my center point of my circle. And I want to make there are 6 spokes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to change this to 5 and 6, And then if I press OK, that has now been recreated. I am going to go through and trim out these extra lines of where I want the circle to be. So I'm going to trim these out, trim those out. I'm going to trim this out, trim all that. That actually breaks the dimensions. I'm going to leave those for now. But I am going to continue trimming these out just so I can see where the spoke needs to be. It's going to be here and here, here and here, here and here. Right, so I just have those left. I am going to go in and trim these out. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I changed my mind just for the sake of cleanliness. I'm actually going to go through and trim these out as well. Trim, 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 and ta-da. So I did lose some of my dimensions there. This should be fine. I am going to go through and just double check these, make sure that that's at a 30-degree angle. I'm going to go through and just put in proper dimensions just to keep everything kind of okay. 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees. Oop, wrong button. 30 degrees. 30 degrees. 30 degrees. 30 degrees. 30 degrees. You just shouldn't have to do all this. This is just kind of really for my own sanity. And see, that's going to over-constrain it, so I'm going to leave that there, but I am going to add that. No, I'm not going to because that leaves everything correct. I'm also going to go through and re-add this radius here of this 0.375, 0.375, 0.375, 0.375, 0.375, and then I'm going to go in and add these as well, 0.375 or 0.675. Oh, you got mad at me there. There to there. I have that selected still. I shouldn't have that selected. There we go. There we go. There we go. And then I think the only ones I'm missing here are going to be those. Didn't like that. This is fine. So I'm just going to hit continue or finish sketch. I'm going to go through and extrude all of these. Make sure it is set to cut. And we're going to cut it through and hit OK. Now I actually forgot to make this a new component when I did the revolve the first time, so I am going to turn this into a new component. So again, check from bodies, check my object, and then just hit OK. And so now I have this component 4, which I am going to rename wheel. The other thing I have to do is go in and add the drive peg to it, so let me go in and model that. So that is going to be right here on this axis. So I'm going to create a new sketch one more time on the face of the wheel. I am going to go through and add this point. So it starts as a circle. Start this circle here. Put a kind of generic circle. We're going to dimension it so that it is exactly, so it says it's 0.7 from the edge. And then it's going to be extruded out 0.375. And then there is a hole that's going to go through that. So I'm going to finish this sketch. I'm going to extrude this out. Both pieces of this geometry at 0.375. Nope, that was set to cut. My bad. At 0.375 at join and hit OK. I just want to make sure that that is extruding in the correct direction. It is, so I'm going to hit OK. That looks a little big compared to the rest of the picture, but that was 0.375. I did type that correctly. Yes, that does look a little bit bigger than the picture, but we're going to roll with it. And I did not set the diameter. That is my bad. I need to go back into the sketch set my diameter is 0.25. And I just hit enter, finish sketch, and it's going to change that up there. Next thing I'm going to do is create that little peg that comes off of it. So in that case, that's going to be a circle, and it's going to snap right here to the center point, so I'm going to make that in the same place. The diameter on this one is 0.125. I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm just going to finish sketch, and I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to make that 0.125 as well. Extrude that. Now I'm going to create this hole feature, which is going to be on the face here. Now, as you can see, that is definitely the wrong size, because I know that this hole is going to be 0.0625, 0.0625, and I want my reference to be this circle so it is nice and centered. I also want my depth to be 0.25, which is what it says in my dimension drawing. So now that I have all that set, I'm going to hit OK, and now I have completed this wheel. I'm just going to go through and double check that I did everything correctly, and it looks like I did. So that should match up with my dimension drawings. And then we're going to go duplicate this, and we're going to add it to the rest of the wheels. But make sure you save, make sure you hit OK, and I will see you in the next one.